Guys, you got your boy Parksy here back with another video, and this is gonna be kind of a series. Don't depend on it to be too frequent or uploaded on the same day every single week because it probably won't be with the way my exams are working. Although my plan, I've been doing like a schedule like for like my videos. The DHBA videos should be going up every Saturday, and I think the DHBA finishes when my exams finish, so at least I'll have one video up every Saturday as my Snapchat is going off, of course. It is happy sorry, it is New Year's Day, so Happy New Year, Happy 2018, and this is probably going to sound a lot weird, like very weird for me to say that because this video is hopefully going to be published on the 18th, which is a Thursday, or else the 16th, which is a Tuesday, or maybe even earlier, but I should have a video like up last week. Tuesday or Thursday. My timetable is a bit messed up, but at any moment, if you guys do enjoy the series and want to see another one of these, my experience with blanks, make sure to go leave a like and subscribe. A comment down below would also be appreciated. Your feedback will help out this series immensely. But I'm going to be going through the years of my experience with drama. As you guys know, I do GCSE drama, and it's going to be quite interesting because I've got a lot of very funny stories. Some are kind of funnier than others. Some are just kind of a bit boring and stuff. And most of them are school plays, and then some of them are like choir singing. But I thought I might as well just add it in because there are some funny events of that. So, guys, just keep this video, like if you're watching this on your phone, probably just like put it into your pocket, do something else while you're listening to me ramble on for about 15-20 minutes about my life and my funny drama stories. If you have any other suggestions of what you think I can do, like any other ideas of what types of my experience with blanks, then leave them down below as well. But let's get into it. Okay, so firstly was my experience with nursery school, with my school play, and as you guys can probably expect, I do not remember much about nursery school. The only way that I actually knew we had a school play, even in nursery school, was because my parents managed to film it back, and I managed to watch it. It's funny because I never remember anyone from from my nursery school. You'll hear me mix up nursery and primary school a lot, sorry, but I never remember anyone from my nursery school, but then like constantly throughout the years, I've been like meeting people from my nursery school. Like there's a guy in P5, primary five, that I apparently went to my my nursery school, and then also a person that I went out with like a year ago also went to my nursery school. So that was like, yeah, I don't remember you guys, but I'm gonna go with it. So nursery school was pretty simple. It was kind of one of those singing kind of things where basically you just sang a few normal kids songs, and I got to dress up as a sheep. And apparently I wasn't on for half of it because I was just because you might not expect it, but I was very shy for a numerous amount of years, and being on stage was super scary for me, so I hid behind stage for like half of it, and I was like super scared. I had tears in my eyes. Thankfully, though, I did have a sheep mask, but I think I ended up I ended up eating part of it accidentally or something. Like I kept on covering my eyes, and it just kept on getting annoying when I was singing. Fluff went into my mouth. But that's basically just nursery school. It was generally what you'd expect from nursery school. I was just a big sob, and I just didn't really contribute that much. I was kind of a sheep in the background. So that was it generally. Okay, so primary one came around, and there's a quick story, of course. If you guys do want this series to continue, I'll be doing other stories. But in primary one, there used to be this tree at the very end of my school, and that tree was apparently where everyone would get married, even though, we're primary school children. If you looked at the girl the wrong way, if you looked at the girl for like longer than a second, you were apparently people apparently thought you had a crush on that person. So that's literally what happened. I think it happens in most primary schools, But there was this person who was he made himself the priest. He was, he was a self-employed priest. He just said, "Oh yeah, I'll be the priest. I'll get everyone married." So it was kind of funny because he was the first one to get married. So why am I telling you this story? Well, it was because we were for the primary one, we were doing basically, Jesus being born, and the three wise men coming, even though that might not be historically accurate. There's three gifts, but can't be three wise men. It's not confirmed, but anyway, so that all happened, and the priest and his wife, of course, was Mary and Joseph. And then I managed to snag my spot as a shepherd. I was one of four shepherds. Now, I was a little like we ran through performances every single week, so we had about like 10 rehearsals, something like that. Maybe closer to the time we actually had it like 3 or 4 times a week. Um, so that happened, and then I remember I learned my lines fine. With the teachers, like they really helped you like go on the stage and then come off the stage. So when it was the day of the performance and there was no teachers, I kind of just wandered off stage, wandered into the staff room, and I just kind of sat myself down. I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? So for about half of the performance, I was just in the staff room until someone found me and was like, "Hey, you're supposed to be on stage." So I managed to make it for the final scene. I wandered around half the school, but you know what? As long as I left out quite a few lines. I remember that like in one of the playbacks, the shepherds were kind of just looking at each other like, where's the fourth guy? Where's the guy? And then they were just trying to improvise. But yeah, I came on for the final scene, which is nice. That I got to see Jesus being born. So that all happened. Before you guys ask, these are just pictures online of primary school. This isn't from my school, okay? I'm pretty sure I'd probably get sued for that. So primary two came along, and there wasn't really anything special. We actually didn't have a school play because in my primary school you did it where every other year you would do like singing. So the first year, of course, we did the school play. The second year we did singing, and there was talk about renting out like a church to do a performance, but we didn't for this one. So we just had a general choir, song sing along at our school, nothing too serious. We just kind of sang like 3 or 4 songs in front of people, and that was basically just me and P2. You're kind of made to sing against your will in P2. If you didn't, you kind of just had to have detentions, or else you had to stay in class and do work. So yeah, I was singing kind of against my will, but fortunately, I'm not doing singing anymore. I'm not forced to do singing anymore because, as you guys can probably tell, my voice is a little bit deeper than it was in primary two. So let's get to the next year. So primary three comes along, and yet again we were doing about the birth of Jesus, and again I was a shepherd, but this time for some reason they decided, you know what, let's give him a bigger role because it's not like he messed it up 2 years ago. So this time I was actually going to be singing, and this is quite a weird story to admit, I guess, but there was one of the angels that I sing alongside, and I was like, oh, I got a super crush on her. So the teachers would always ask me why I was so nervous. Like my hands was shaking, sweat was dripping from my head during every performance alongside this angel, and they were like, "Why are you shaking so much? Like you're gonna have a very tough time when all the audience are looking at you and you're shaking this much just in front of 2 teachers and another person." And I'm like, "You guys don't get it, okay? It's not the audience that are gonna make me nervous." But it was fine. I think I sang okay. However, the teachers kept on asking me, "You know what? If you want." Parksy. Of course, he didn't call me Parksy, but you know, of course, if you want, um, of course, if you don't want to sing, you know, it's fine. If that's too much of a commitment and you're not up for it, then that's fine. Now, I'm not sure if they're trying to tell me something, if they were saying that I was bad or something, but I decided to just keep singing, and I did my performance. Of course, very shaky. I was a lot more shaky than I thought because you always like a week before the performance, you're always like I can speak from a lot of experience because I do a lot of performances, but a week before the performance you're like, oh, it's fine, you know, it's only in front of a few people, you won't be that nervous, and then like it's 10 minutes until you go on the stage and then your heart starts racing, you're like, stop racing. So but I was told from a person that does a lot more drama than me and has a lot more experience that adrenaline is good for you in small amounts because it gives you that like kick and keeps you awake and then aware and stuff. So it's always got to have a bit of adrenaline. But that's basically primary three. I was just a shepherd again. It was mostly the same, I think. Most of the scenes were the same apart from I had to sing alongside the angel. So that was it. So Primary 4 is probably one of the most interesting drama performances yet because this performance was, of course, in the church. They finally had found a place where they would let us sing. The church said yes, so that was fine. We were planning to do it on some Friday night. I think it was actually Thursday night. Oh yeah, it was a Thursday night. So in primary four, we were just gonna do some singing, and also on top of that, we also had to do this kind of lights display where basically we were just walking around in a circle with a torch. Doesn't sound that bad, right? But you had me in the circle. So there's about 18 students. I think there's about 18 pupils, and we all had to shine our light up to the roof. And they made like these. All the torches were different colors. They looked all nice. There was pink, there was orange, there was white, there was red, and there was just all these like giant, shiny, luminous, gorgeous circles on the roof of the building where we were practicing it, and I couldn't stop it. Like I kept on looking up at all these circles because I found it so fascinating to just see them like moving around. So I constantly kept on looking up at the roof, and then that forced me to stop moving, and hence everyone just kind of collided with each other every few minutes. So I tried to keep my head in front of me, but like every performance or every like rehearsal, I guess I should say, every rehearsal, like there were quite a few collisions, and that was because of me. I'm sorry, but there's also another game at primary school which is called 1, 2, 3. I don't know if you guys know it, but basically it's where you have a pole or a tree trunk or something. We had a pole personally because I was outside our cloakroom. So there's a pole, and if you guys don't know what 1, 2, 3 is, it's basically like tag, except it, it's like hide and seek meets tag, where basically you're given 20 seconds to hide, you hide, and then there's a designated pole where the hider has, where the person has to count. So if a person finds you, they count 1, 2, 3. You're not free. So then that means that you're out. However, if you can run to the pole and outspeed the person, and that means 1, 2, 3, I am free. So that means that you're free and you don't have to be catched in the next round. If you're caught first, that means that you are the catcher for the next round. And also, if the final person manages to get to the pole of 1, 2, 3, then that means that they can say 1, 2, 3, everyone's free, and then that means that the catcher has to be the same catcher again, which I kind of thought unfair. But that kind of caused, because boys will be boys, that caused like 3 or 4 people by like the final person, because there were quite a few people that would get caught out usually. So like the big boys usually like would like pin down the catcher so that the final person would free them so they didn't have to do the seeking. But there was this one event where I was the person that was counting, so of course I had my head against the pole, and just randomly there's debatably the biggest boy in primary 4 that just kind of came over to me, put his hand behind my head, and just hit me against the pole. And before I knew that, he had knocked me unconscious. And I woke up and I was in the teacher's arms, and she was like, "Oh, you've fallen asleep for quite some time." And I say, "What?" And like, I'm there like, "Well, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Like, I'd been knocked out." So because of that, I had a huge bruise on my forehead, and basically upon that, that means that I could not go to the concert then and do the Light Festival, which probably is for the greater good, because I heard that the performance went really well, and if I was there it might have not went so well. People might have tripped over each other and collided with each other, and it might not have looked so nice. But I stayed at home with my mum, eating popcorn with a very sad face, watching Ice Age. But I guess it all worked out in the end. My brother and my father managed to get to the concert, so that kind of upset me a bit, because I really wanted to do it. It was the first time in the big fancy church, but oh well. So primary 5. So between the transaction of primary 4 to primary 5, or the transition I should say, between that transition there was quite a few people that left the school in P4, and then new people that came in P5, and most notably there was this young girl that did a lot of drama, which fair enough. She did quite a bit of acting, I don't know where, but because of this, obviously, she got the main role in primary 5, which is fair enough. And unfortunately, with all my great shepherd acting skills, getting lost in P1 and singing quite nervously in primary 3, getting knocked out on primary 4, and basically halting the whole progress of the light show in rehearsals, that meant that it kind of took its toll on me, and I think the teachers wised up and finally gave me an appropriate role. I was a tree in, in that play, and it was, oh, I can't remember, but it's a play about a girl with a magic rose, and then there's another girl, but she's evil with another rose. She's like her mother, and then there's also an alive chicken. I was a mystical tree that was alive along with three others. I had one line, and I had to stand there for about 10 minutes while a whole scene went in front of me of these two girls fighting over each other with roses. And then it turns out that one of the girls actually lost a rose and it was on the ground. So the chicken had to like leap off the stage, grab the rose for her, and then hand it to her. So it could have definitely could have went better, the performance overall. And but that's probably one of my worst years for acting. But oh well. So yeah. So it's the next primary year, and of course, like I said previously, every other second year would result in doing singing. And this time, finally, I didn't manage to get knocked out, and we did singing at the church, as I said. Usually, unfortunately, we didn't have any like special performance, at least in our year. So all we did was singing, but it was so cool. I went inside the church, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's massive!" And everyone was like, "Why are you freaking out?" I mean, it's the same church there was 2 years ago, and unfortunately those little souls did not realize that I was not there last year, the 2 years ago. So did the singing. It was pretty alright. It was a lot bigger people than there would have been in the primary school generally, because I think there was actually some people from the church that just wandered in and was like, oh, okay, guess church is on tonight. So that all happened. Primary six was just pretty general. Okay, so primary seven, of course, the last primary year, and for this one, I actually got a pretty good role. Now, I think we were doing Dick Whittington, something like that. Is that the name of it? I don't know. But there was there's this young girl that went away from her father's home, and then somehow she ended up on a ship or something, and I was the captain, okay. And no, I didn't tell you guys, but for like the past like 2 years and including this year, I had been doing recorder lessons, because the top six people that we had like a music exam, no one told us. Unfortunately, I did piano those days, so we had a music exam, and you had to like read off notes and all. So I managed to get into the top six, and because of this, I got to do a recorder tuition. Now, it sounded good at first. It was like, oh yeah, getting like 30 minutes out of class and then being able to instantly go out for break. That sounds amazing. But then you realize you had to like do recorder exams, and then it was like, not to also mention that in my primary school there was like trips, organized trips. So every week we would have went to like another like primary school, and we learned how to play the tin flute. And the difference between a tin flute and a recorder is, I'm pretty sure the tin flute, it's like one, like if you're trying to play the same notes on the tin flute and the recorder, you'd have to hold your finger one hole lower on the tin flute. Also, there's no hole on the back on the flute in comparison to a recorder. And don't even get me started on the ginormous recorders. Our instructor was asking us, okay, who would like to move on to giant recorders? And we were like, no, we're good, thanks. Although there were some people that had because we had like a bit of singing at the start, and then we had like all our performances. So there were some people that actually for like the singing and stuff, they actually did play ginormous recorders, which is pretty cool. They do sound pretty nice, but it's very hard to master. Of course, you need giant hands, and I have really small hands. So for my, I had like a captain solo where I would be on my ship, I'd have my legs dangling over the stage, and I would play the tin flute. Now, that all sounded great, and I was so happy that I got my nice solo. I think I had one of the most lines in the play, actually. I counted them up. I think I was the third most, of course, behind the father and then the main character. So that was pretty fun. I also got to command around three pirates, which were like three of my good friends, so it was really fun to just boss them around. But unfortunately, the recording, of course, they recorded on a video camera, and then any parents that wanted to get the CDs could. So they recorded it, and then they made it into CDs, of course. And it turns out they actually did not record my Tin Flute solo, and I was disgusted. They showed it in assembly, and everyone looked at me, and they just saw the disgust on their face, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, Parksy. I know you tried your hardest. And then the teachers came to me and they're like, it's okay, we'll try and get it back. but I never did. So that really disappointed me. It was not a good year for me, even though I got like one of the main roles, which I can't really be angry about. Looking back on it, like I really cannot be angry. So yeah. So for the junior high school, there was only one play designated per every 3 years, which I think is a good idea because then that really allows you to focus your mind into the right play and spend a lot of time into it. Because in primary school, obviously the plays were not as sophisticated as they would be in junior high school anyway, but it just gives you a lot of time to really make the best out of what you can. And can I just say that even now, of course I'm not in junior high school, but even now, looking back at it, this was the best play. It was called Robin Hood and the Sherwood Hoodies. Of course, these are not the people from my school. This is another play, but it's one of those so bad it's good plays. And let me just tell you, it was so good. The memories are amazing, and just okay. The rehearsals firstly were amazing because it was just so fun. It's one of those things because fortunately because every play was every 3 years, I actually managed to do it in the final year of junior high school, so that means that you kind of guaranteed a good role. If you're year 8, you kind of just got a skunk, um, but or else you got like a villager or a skunk or something. But it was kind of one of the, like, in year 10, the final year of junior high school, you're kind of like, oh well, might as well just do anything you can, because you know that most of the people you're going to be with, you might not see them ever again. So it's kind of one of those things, you just throw your hands up in the air and you're like, okay, well, you only live once, I guess. So it was a really good experience. I'm so glad that I did it and stepped out of my comfort zone to do it, because I did the rehearsals and I had to do a really I was with two other of my really good friends, Nathan, Pokey obviously, and Paul So Awesome. Yep, both their YouTube channels. But it was fun doing with them, because we did not do a serious, I guess, performance, because you had to like read over the script in like 30 minutes and then you perform for the other 30 minutes and you'd watch people doing their performances. And there was a script where you had to do two boy roles and a girl role. So originally we were like, who's gonna do the girl role? And I can do a really good like high pitched girl voice. I'm not gonna do it. But I can do a really good high pitched girl voice. Of course, it's kind of fading away from me because my voice is getting deeper, but it was it was super funny to do it, but I think people enjoy it a lot. So I eventually got the role of a merry man. I was called Alan Dale, and unfortunately they don't show it in this picture, but Alan Dale was one of the is a pretty good merry man, for the main fact that he got to play his guitar. So I got to do a wee guitar solo, of course. Actually, no, it's not a guitar. It's like a mini guitar, a ukulele. That's what it's called. I got a ukulele and I got my own ukulele solo. Of course, it was not supposed to be at any given point. It was not supposed to be like I had to like learn how to play a ukulele and all the notes. I just strummed a few strings and that was it. But it was so funny. The script was really amazing to just go over. I think what was the best thing about it was we had bundles of time, because this performance was at around March time, and we already were doing auditions in November. So that gave us November, and then we had December to like read over it and just, we were allowed to have fun. And then January we came back, and then we did twice a week. We came to performances after school, and um then we did that, and then it was still fun. We were still reading off the script until like halfway through February, where we stopped doing the scripts. Of course, you refer back to the script, and then March came, and then it was like 2 weeks to performance. So we did it with no script, and then we also did it where we had our costumes on, and I had to wear tights. Okay, everyone kept on making fun of me for wearing tights. And also, I was in the makeup room before the performance, and the girls were doing my makeup, and they're like, "You would look like such a good girl. Like, I mean, you've got such great eyelashes. Like, they're giving me like eyeliner and all, and they're putting blusher on my face and foundation, and they're like, you would make such a good girl. Like, I mean, look at those eyelashes and everything." And so, I made the bad mistake of making them give me like too much blusher. So I looked like an Oompa Loompa on stage, but I didn't really care because it kind of hid the fact that my face was fully red from nervousness of people. But it was a really good performance. There was a lot of jokes and a lot of people laughed. There was actually primary schools that visited us, and I'm not sure if they were trying to be nice because we don't really hear them laugh that often because we read over the script like I don't know like 20 times, and like even if someone were to say a funny joke, we would still laugh. And none of the kids laughed at some of the jokes, so that kind of made it a bit awkward. But they said they really enjoyed it. I'm not sure if they were just told by their teachers to say that or what, but we had a lot of fun, and that's what matters. Even though I think on our first performance, like half the stage fell off for the final scene. There's also a guy that was doing light sound, who was doing sound and light, and he even managed to get onto the last scene because he really wanted to do it. He managed to be a king on the last scene. And before those scenes, he'd be like off stage. He'd be giving microphones to everyone. He'd be doing the lighting then, if he managed to get the time to go back. But that was really good. Definitely by far my favorite performance in a play. So of course, because I do drama GCSE, a lot of performances now. You have a lot more performances to do. I think I had quite a few to do last year, of course. None of them really went towards much. I think there's only one that went towards performances. But I'm just going to be going quickly through all these things. So the first thing that we had to do for the drama GCSE was about mid-November, where we had to do a monologue. These guys do not know what a monologue is. It's basically a script of maybe like 20, 30 lines, basically, where one character would say something. So it'd basically be like an autobiography, except you're speaking it out. So I, of course, I was reading through some books and I didn't really find any good ones. I did about like a granny, like I read one and it was about a granny like going through a window and flying into a train. So I kind of gave up that idea. I only managed to pick out two because everyone was like flicking through the books trying to find ones that they'd like. So I couldn't do that one. So then I did about my wife, about my bunny ears wife dying. Okay, I didn't actually have a wife in like last year who died. Okay, guys, calm down. But I did that, and it was a really good response for what I got towards performance because there was this girl that I knew for 3 years. She went to my junior high school, and after I did my really sad monologue, which took about 4 or 5 minutes, she said, "I've never seen Parksy that sad and just be that act that depressed." And everyone was saying the same because I'm always a lively character, and by year 10 I kind of just stepped out of my shell. I talk a lot. I'm very happy. I'm that kind of person, just like jump all around the place and just skip everywhere. So it was definitely nice to experience a different like a different persona that I would never do naturally. Well, not very often. Of course, everyone gets sad or angry, but the next performance was a trial of our actual drama performance. This went towards 30% of our GCSE, so of course, very scary to prepare for. Not this one, but the actual one. This was only the trial of the trial, and for your actual performance, every person in your group had to do 5 minutes. However, for this one, we only did 2 minutes. So there's 4 people in my group, and we did an 8-minute performance. It actually took us about 11 or 10 minutes to do. But we, as long as you don't go too overtime, like if you went like 15 minutes, like if it lasted for like 15 minutes, that would be considered overtime. I think it's like 1.1 times the amount you're given, and that's like overtime. And then like say for example, if we were only to do like 5 minutes, and that'd be undertime. But I had to do it alongside 3 other girls. There's actually only 3 boys in my drama class, and there's 14 of us all together. So already I kind of knew what the deal was going to be. So there's this performance where we were trying to do like a school theme, because obviously we're school children. That would be the most comfortable for us to do, and it really let us, add to the script. A lot of people managed to contribute to the ideas, which is great, of course, because you don't want people to be like in the corner like, I don't really like the script, I don't really know what to do. So we did a school performance, and of course I was the boyfriend, and not only that, but I was the big bully. So, like the two like most masculine roles you can ask for, I got. Not also to mention I like at the start, I was supposed to be a 19-year-old guy dating his 19-year-old girlfriend. However, by the end of it, I was dating all three of the girls, and I even tried to get back with like my ex girlfriend, the 19-year old one, like in the performance. It's very complicated. Basically, there was this of course the girlfriend, and then her sister was like 14, which is very weird. So I would try to hook up with her, and I actually did in the performance. So that was awkward. And then there was her friend who was like, "Please stop bullying her," and I was like, "Okay." Well, I mean, I'll date you instead. So that all happened. I was, and it was cool because I think I was definitely the character to have like the most layers to him because I had a very good backstory about how my mother died, and then that made me the kind of bully I am. And then that takes the my mind off her death, and then of course because of her death I got depressed, and then that's what caused me to do the bullying, and then through me acting so bad towards my girlfriend, and that meant that she then would like be like really self-conscious. She'd be like, I don't know, should I tell him what I actually want to tell him, or should I just like play along and like feel sorry for him? So that was the performance, and then there was one final performance at summer, and actually I was in a group of five. We were all put into different groups with against most people's wills. They were kind of put into groups of people that they didn't really get along with. But I'm one of the people in drama that I'm not super friendly with anyone, but I don't think anyone dislikes me, and that's quite a good trait because there's been quite a few things that went on. But I was in a group of five, so that meant we had to do a 25-minute performance. This was a trial towards our drama GCSE, and of course you could use this one as your actual drama. You could like document it and all, but generally your 12 performance would have been better. So it was set in World War II, which I think was the first mistake because we were kind of like because we had said in the script. I had mentioned the idea, and then everyone liked it, and then like someone I don't know who, someone was like, we could do World War Two, and then no one replied to it, and everyone was like, no, not really. And then somehow I think it was the same person who asked about World War Two was the type in the script at that time, so uh, basically, we were doing World War Two. Then it was kind of like, oh yeah, here's the first part of the World War Two script. So it's like what? But I'm not really a guy to like complain or anything. I just go along with it. I go with the grain. I never go against it. But we were doing a World War Two script, and I was apparently a soldier. Because I had quite a bit of free time during year 11 summer. Of course, I don't now, but I had a bit of free time then, so I would be writing a bit of the script. And people kept, like, sometimes when we were doing rehearsals, people were telling me, come on, you've got to act a bit more fierce. And I'm like, I wrote the parts of this script, okay? I made up this character. I made up quite a few of the characters, actually, okay? I think I know what I'm supposed to do, but you were right, of course. I did try adding a bit more character to every part of my lines, and they definitely worked out a lot better. Like when I was angry, I made myself a little bit more angry, or if I was supposed to act depressed, and I made myself a little bit more sad, and the tone of my voice would have changed, and therefore it seemed a lot more convincing. However, there are kind of these moments where we improvised in the script, like a week before the performance, we were like, yeah, we don't like these parts of, we don't like these lines. And then people would reply, so what do you want to change to? And there was another guy in my group, and he was debatably the main character. He was the guy that grew up in family and then went to war, and then inevitably he'd die, and then I had to bring him home and stuff. So he was debatably the main character, and he looked at one of his lines like a week before, and he said, I don't like this line. And then people were like, okay, well, fair enough, you don't like this line. What do you want to change to then? What do you think would go well? And he's like, I don't know. So we had this like spat argument, like tit for tat argument, like for a whole week before the performance happened, and we kind of just assumed, hey, you know what, just leave it with the lines. Now we had these improvisations, and none of us clicked on. One of the lines, the main character, of course, would be writing to his girlfriend back at home, and I was supposed to come on and I was supposed to say, oh, she looks like a real she looks like a real keeper, and she looks great and all. And none of us, it didn't click to us that this was not World War Two. You wouldn't say, "Oh, she's a keeper in World War Two." So that happened, and we also did not prepare our stage directions. Okay, I blame everybody apart from me because I really wanted to go onto the stage. I was like, "Guys, can we go onto the stage?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just rehearse in the teacher's classroom." So I do not take responsibility for that. I think I got the final laugh. I'm only kidding. So then when it came to performance, we obviously knew what the staging was like, but we had like the split screen idea. So when people would be talking in front of the stage with the curtain closed, we would like be moving furniture, okay? And there's this there's this girl who was doing a monologue in front of the curtain, and there was three other people, right? Okay, apart from me, there's four people, including me, backstage, okay? And three of them, okay, fair enough. The other boy in the group, he was getting changed, and then the other two, they were just talking at the other side of the room, and I was expected to push a sofa halfway across the stage during the time that she did her like the 15-line monologue. I think she forgot some of it. I don't know, but it was like 15 lines or something, 15 maybe 20 lines. And then also there was the girl went another girl who was the main character's girlfriend. She had went to a music festival, like one of those like singing like concerts and all, and she had been there the night before, which to me when I heard that I was like, what the heck? Okay, this is like potentially 30% of your GCSE, and you went to a music concert. So apparently she lost her voice. I think she spoke just fine. She was screaming at lunchtime, but she said that she couldn't do singing. So singing was a huge part of our performance. It took up like about 7 minutes. Um, but I can't really blame her because I'm of course was not perfect in that performance as well. It was good, of course, because I managed to reflect upon my mistakes. But there was some parts where I just did not act right. Sometimes I would speak too quickly, and of course that's usually a problem of mine. I speak far too quickly, and then people cannot understand the words that I'm saying. Sometimes I mumble. I mumbled in the performance, and then some people couldn't hear me. There was also some technical issues where we were supposed to do a radio, and I was playing it out on my phone, but people couldn't apparently hear it. So again, my fault. I should have tried to do a bit more on my end to try and do that. But the performance, I think we can say, did not go well, and from then people just made their own groups. So the Year 12 team, of course, this performance was like a month back, so we were going to be doing a performance, and I'll admit, okay, you're not supposed to do this, but I was talking to some people on social media, and I was like, hey, if do you mind being in a group if we have to do another play? And they're like, yeah, probably we'll see. And none of them were in my group. Okay, I was left stranded. Okay, there was two groups. There was a group of four, and there was a group of like eight, and I was just there in the middle, and I was like, well, because the group of eight, like they had like made a group chat or something about performance, which is fine. Again, I couldn't really care less. I'll just get on with it. I really do not care who I work with in performances, just as long as as long as they put in as much work as I do, and they're as responsible as the rest of the people. So I worked with a group of four, and we were talking, we were throwing ideas back and forward with each other, and I was like, can we do law, please? Because you had to do about like you had to like research, you had to show research in your play if you were doing from like a certain time, or if you were doing about a certain thing. So a law, you could do a lot of research. You could do like, because I was planning to do like a murder and like a police investigation. So I thought it'd be kind of cool, like what procedures police officers take when exploring like a murder scene, and then what they say when they handcuff people, what they do when they interview people and detain them and stuff. But they were against the idea and they decided to do witchcraft. Now, personally, coming from a group from World War II where the language was very off, I did not have good. I really did not think this would go well, but it went pretty good in the end. We constantly had to change the script, however, because we kept on reading through it, and they're like, they would not have said that in 1700s times because it was about me. Of course, I was the dad, my wife, my daughter, and there was this, and then there's these two friends that knew my wife, and they actually turned out to be witches, and they managed to get accuse my daughter of witchcraft. So yeah, of course, I was fine with the idea of witchcraft as long as I had no involvement with it. I was fine in the general play, just as long as, I didn't have to say anything, um, like any like spells or something, because they actually researched like 1700 like witchcraft spells and stuff for the two witches to do, and they were completely fine with it. And I was like, okay, yeah, you can do it, just don't let me in. So I did my part, and I actually got congratulated at the end. Um, when the girls came to me and she was like, "Congratulations, Parksy! You're the only person who didn't forget their lines because." Never mind. I probably shouldn't say anything, but I guess I should. I guess she was kind of wrong with forget lines because not really many people in performance forgot lines. They just kind of like skipped out a word or two. It wasn't detrimental. Just they switched up their lines a bit, but it was very seamless. I guess it flowed very nicely, and I wouldn't mind working with people again. I like I said, I really don't mind who I work with in a performance, just as long as they're prepared to get as good as marks as me and put in the work. So that's basically the end of my experience with drama. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below any other like my experience with blanks. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.